Okay, life gonna come at you fast. But you know what? You gotta stay ready.
Strong enough, never gave up every time I gave my all. Refuse to fall. Strong enough.
Can't stop, won't stop, keep going, don't stop.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Estate Mastery with your girl, Jessica Myers. I am the deal maker. You know what? We create a space where we discuss complex real estate strategies so that you can master them with ease. And today we have joining us one of my business partners, and he actually helped me get started in the development side, Mr. Patrick Henderson. How you doing today?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Oh, I stay living the dream. How are you?
I can't complain.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about can't complain, but yet there is a lot that you're dealing with. Can you speak through just some of the development projects that you have going on here in the Atlanta area?
Well, it's been a busy time, as you already know. We have a lot of high-end deals that's actually going on. Obviously, we have we have about 6 houses are currently under construction with another 14 in permitting. So we have a great deal of things going on right now.
Now, to the average person, 20 homes is not that big a deal. And it's nothing to be like, oh my gosh, I got a lot going on. But these 20 homes that you're dealing with are upward of 5,000, 10,000, 11,000 square feet.
Right.
What made you decide to go like that big?
I mean, it's crazy because, when I got started back in the day, back in 2004, when I used to do a lot of your just basic fix and flips. But as time went on, I found that it was the same amount of work doing $500,000 houses to multi-million-dollar houses. I was doing the same type of work. It's all about the finishings and the fixtures that really determine what your price was.
Yeah, so it's not really the size,
Correct.
More so than the quality of the finishing.
That's correct.
Because one of the things that we talk about here is that real estate is the product.
Mm-hmm.
Development or getting into building is more so the strategy.
Right.
So what made you choose that as a strategy over renovations, over the Burr model or anything else? Like, why development?
It's crazy because, like you said, you have so many elements tied to real estate. It's not just, being a developer, which I really, really enjoy. You have obviously your real estate agent, your insurance agent. You have all these components that are tied to real estate. But development is what really gets me out of bed every morning. It's something that I really take a liking to. I really enjoy taking something and taking nothing actually and making it into something.
Yeah, because you actually speak to development and how fun it is. Like, what about the not so fun parts?
I mean, you always have those things. I mean, with anything that you do, if it's worth it, you're going to find a way to get through it, no matter what, the challenges that you come through. But I mean, right now in this economy, we have a lot of things that are coming up against us, from inflation, from labor inflation to materials inflation. But it's just a matter of battling through it.
Because you say too, about picking it, because you just mentioned like a realtor, appraiser, all these different things. How did you hone in on what your niche was? And like, how do you use that to help, charge more for your price, for your houses?
So it's crazy because it took time, right? It just didn't happen overnight. A lot of times people watch, your HGTVs and all those types of things.
It's 30 minutes.
Right, it's 30 minutes. They think that it happens with the snap of a finger, and that couldn't be so far from the truth. It's a process, right? You just don't be born and then you are able to walk, talk, run. It takes time in order to mature into that particular person that you are today. And when I got first started, it was your basic fix and flips. I call them lipstick renovation, paint, carpet. And I was turning those over very, very quickly. And as time went on, I actually, increased in my skill set. I always stay learning. I always stay going to some type of event in order to increase my knowledge base in order to get to where I am today. And right now, I'm just loving it. I'm enjoying exactly what I'm doing. I'm meant to be in this space.
Yeah, because I mean, you've been working with some of the celebrities. How do you find your clientele? Like, for somebody to even think about building, because a lot of your homes are in the $1 million price point.
That's correct.
So for anyone to even think about developing in the $1 million price point, who's going to buy it, especially in these economic times?
Right.
How do you battle against that?
So, right now, when you start talking about your $1 million homes, when any type of recession, market correction, or whatever that may take place in the market takes place, it affects middle America first, right? It affects those people in the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 range. And then it goes down to your blue collar workers. But those people who have that money in order to buy that $1 million house, that $1.5 million, $2 million house, they generally plan differently. They may have more savings because majority of our buyers are buying cash right now. So it doesn't matter to them that, we're in a market correction. They're still proceeding as business as usual. So it has just been a great thing right now.
So is it more lucrative, you feel, to be a developer versus in renovation?
Well, it all depends upon what your fancy is. I mean, there's more steps, right? As we teach our developer master class, it talks to the various steps from A to Z in order to get started. But when you're dealing with a basic renovation, obviously you find your house, you fix it up, and you flip it. Versus your new construction, you have so many nuances that are tied to that development, from finding the lot, prepping the lot, doing all your testing that takes place in order to get to a point where you can even apply for a permit, right? And then going through and getting those parcels segmented off if you're building a subdivision, et cetera. So it's a lot that goes into it, but I believe that the reward is much more greater than that.
So if I'm just getting started, fresh off, I would say off the plantation, but I'm fresh off of working,
Right.
and I leave my job to go do this, is development something that is that like one of the first things that I can ease into as a novice?
So here's the thing. I tell any and everybody who tries to get into this field that you should have some type of mentor that you should follow. Lock arms with them and really understand, what they're getting into. Because it's not for the faint at heart. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yes.
And so, but I think a lot of people, they watch your TV shows and they see it's done again in 30 minutes and they feel like they can jump into it. Some are successful, but you can lose your shirt very, very quickly in it, right? And so for the person who is trying to get into this field that's a novice, what I would say is not only lock arms with somebody, but go and get training, right? Because that's going to allow you to play on the mistakes of others as you move forward in your career.
Speaking of, we actually have a master class that we teach once a quarter,
Right.
where we bring students from all over the world and they come on site to our projects to learn firsthand. What is one of the things that inspires you most about now being able to teach and educate others and create other developers?
Well, part of the thing is in my nature, right? It's in my blood. You and I always talk about, we're both PKs, right? Yeah. So we ended up, it's teaching by nature. But as I do it, I really find joy in helping others get from where they are currently to where they actually want to go. And teaching that development master class, it's something that I really take pride in, because I really want to be able to show a person real world how they get into this field and how do they be successful at it.
Because, what are some of the pitfalls that you feel hold most people back?
I think a lot of times, some of the pitfalls are lack of capital, lack of know-how, and lack of a trusted circle that they can actually play upon when they actually get involved into a deal.
Yeah, because that's what actually you and I met at another real estate circle. And actually the reason we connected is because I had a deal going wrong.
Right.
And I was like, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And you actually came out to my project, looked at it, and you were like, oh, this is wrong. Like a whole room. You were like, were you not here when they were building? I was right there. And they built a whole room with no electrical outlets, no HVAC system. How important is it, especially with all the projects that you have going on, to have a team?
I think your team is very, very important. And people got to understand, it's not just your construction team, right? In real estate, there's so many ancillary players that are tied to what we're doing. Your real estate agent, your insurance agent, your appraiser, anybody that is, has those tentacles tied to your real estate deal. Those are people who are a part of your team. And you really want to make sure that you have those people in place in case, my motto, what can happen will happen, right? Yeah. And so you want to make sure that everybody's in place in order to make sure that the deal is structured appropriately and you are successful at it.
So about how much money do I have to get into into development, into development side? Is it that, I gotta have an exorbitant amount of money? Sure. I need to wait till I'm rich to get into this sector?
Well, you and I already talk about, it's about leveraging of cash flows, right? So I would advise people to have some money in order to be able to make a deal go the way that they want. However, it's about leveraging, right? It's about leveraging your profile, your credit, leveraging your skills, your knowledge, and know-how in order to go and get the capital, because there's a lot of money that's on the streets right now. You just got to make sure that you're structured right as an entity in order to make sure that you're able to take advantage of some of the things that are out there.
every discipline starts with creating a habit. Find a plan that works for you. I know you can put a reminder in your phone, call so-and-so in 30 days. You can't use the excuse that, oh, I'm an introvert or I'm an extrovert. You know, stuff people like to say. Nah, if you're not outgoing, right, you better get going, because that's the only way networking works.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Would you say that the pandemic has been a trauma for citizens around the globe?
Trauma walks with us through life, through things we see, through communities we live in, through experiences that we've been exposed to. So, you know, the pandemic kind of took all that stuff that was back there that we really haven't addressed and says, oh, well, hold up. I got another story to tell you.
Now, we actually have a fun part where we get to go into the field and explore, because your motto is touch it, feel it, see it.
Sure.
So we actually get to go into the field to see firsthand what it looks like. Wow, that was some amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, how do you feel like you're talking about lake house development,
Right.
on the water? I mean, that's everyone's dream. How did you get to that point where now it's like your dream expanded so much, you're now on the lake?
I mean, it's God-given, right? You know, it was something that I was meant to do, right? It was something that is just a vision, because I see things. Like when I go into a project, into a property, I can already determine, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. We're going to put this here, we're going to structure it this way. It's something that, you know, it's an ability that I have in order to help transform a deal to where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got here, you know, not only by the grace of God, but also by taking the necessary steps in order to improve upon my craft. I continuously work on it. You know, I took a group of people last week to Las Vegas. We went to the ICSC conference. And the goal was, that was a conference that was tied to the biggest real estate developers and retail owners all over the country, all over the world, to be honest with you. And my motto is actually about being in the building. A lot of times people play real estate, in my opinion. They want to be in the field, they want to be in a deal, but they don't do the necessary steps in order to be successful. And so what I try to do is put myself and my team in position to be a sponge to learn as much as we can so it can translate into the field. And so as we do our motto, touch it, see it, feel it, it's a matter of actually being on the ground, boots on the ground, and not just directing, but we're going to get out there and we're going to make it happen ourselves as well.
Yeah, that's what. So we actually have a group where we bring on site here again in Atlanta once a month. Now, once a quarter is our development masterclass, but once a month is the Launch Your Learning Circle. The Launch Your Learning Circle all got started how?
So it's crazy, because when I got started back in 2004, I didn't know much about real estate, right? And so what I did was I followed my contractor. I brought my lawn chair out and I plopped up on a project site and I watched, I asked questions. I wanted to make sure that I was present, you know, and that's a reoccurring theme with me is make sure that you're present, right? And so as time went on, I started to garner more and more knowledge about how to do what I really thought my destiny was to be a real estate developer, right? And so as time went on, we said, you know what, let's go ahead and coin this thing, the Lawn Chair Learning Circle. So our real estate meetup is really bringing people together of all facets of real estate, and we can sit on site and we can talk about the things that are ailing us right now. How do we pivot if need be, and what does it look like as we start to move forward? And right now, that has allowed people, we have people coming in from all over the country, right? Just to come to this real estate meetup that we have in our master class. And it's something that I think that we should continue to expand.
Yeah, because I mean, you can see that people are hungry. A lot of people, I feel, are being awakened that trading time for money isn't necessarily the best form of generating capital.
Right.
And so that's where I feel like it's been a lot more people wanting to get into the industry.
I think also it's about being around people that you trust, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people want to get involved in real estate, but they don't know people who are actually doing it.
Because
Right?
most conventions are in a hotel.
Right, right. And so, or they know this guy who bought this house, who fixed it and flipped it, but they don't really know, the intricate details of what it took in order to get there. And so they're looking for people that they can lock arms with and really help them get to the next level. And that's what this real estate meetup does.
So speaking of next level, when I first met you, one of the things I always ask, like, what's big picture? What's next level?
Sure.
And I feel like we're here. You're actually building and developing a modern build townhome.
Right.
How do you feel with your namesake as the estate
Oh, I
and
love it.
tied to legacy?
Well, I mean, it's all about building your legacy, not just for something for yourself, but also where, your kids have something that they can say, you know what, my grandfather, my dad, so-and-so, he had a part of that. He built it. That's his name. That's our name. I think that it's something that, it's something special to pass down, so I'm really, really enjoying that. But to answer your question around what's next, the sky's the limit, right? I don't limit myself in terms of what I can and cannot accomplish. However, I look at, more so in the commercial. We've started to dive into the commercial realm a little bit more. Some shopping centers, developments, and things are going good. And then we're actually getting ready to start doing a big old project in the Bahamas where we're going to be building a hotel and some micro cottages. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
that
That should be a fun project.
that's going to be great.
Project.
That's going to be absolutely great.
So if people want to join the team, be a part of the movement, understand what you're doing, what all ways, I know we have the Development Masterclass and the Launch Your Learning Circle, but what other ways do they have that they can tap in and get more understanding of what you do and what your world looks like?
So it's crazy because, your schedules, my schedules have been just running rampant right now. I mean, but, I try to tell people, hey, follow us on social media, get with us, contact us, and where we can extend our arms to help them out. There's a lot of things that are going on. And for those people who are serious, they're going to take the time in order to join us.
Yeah, because I was like, how do you scale? I mean, because, you started with just you, and then obviously you have a couple other partners that you created over the time. But like, how do you scale efficiently?
Well, I mean, you have to build a team. It's all about the team, right? You can only go so far by yourself. It's a matter about bringing people on that you can actually grow the business. We're stronger together than we are apart, right?
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it's a matter of having the right people around you that are equally yoked that can take you to the next goal. Because here's my thing. One of the things that I learned in this game is that I myself cannot plan for just the now. I have to be thinking next month, next year, 6 months from now, about what is the next play, right? So while I'm doing that and while I'm directing, you use your analogy of Kirk Franklin, right? So I try to make sure that I have the proper team members in here on staff in order to help carry out the things that we're putting in place. Because right now, we have an abundance of deals that are coming across our desk. We're at a point where we can kind of pick and choose, the right ones. And it's just a matter of doing things that feel good,
Yeah.
Would you say that the pandemic has been a trauma for citizens around the globe?
Trauma walks with us through life, through things we see, through communities we live in, through experiences that we've been exposed to. So, the pandemic kind of took all that stuff that was back there that we really haven't addressed and says, oh, well, hold up. I got another story to tell you.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Well, look, you might not be popular, but my favorite character is Celestial because
One of the quotes that I wrote down in the book that kind of stood out to me was, "Love is the enemy of sound judgment."
She seemed like a very needy woman. And I can't even respect Andre because how do you prey on your friend's wife while he's incarcerated? Like, I just can't get with that. And maybe I got too invested in the book,
Yeah, and one of the things, like you say, as far as Kirk Franklin,
Right.
Just to bring context to where that's coming from. So as the deal maker, I'm always saying it's 3 things to bring together a deal: the opportunity itself, the skill set and the know-how, and the capital to execute. Now, the thing that a lot of people get wrong is that they may have one of the 3,
Right.
2 of the 3, or maybe none of them at all. And one of the things that I always say is partner and bring together those people who have what you don't. Hence how we partner.
Right.
I'm good at the numbers and the business with the capital structure. You're good with the development side. How can we scale this and now take it to the next level? Doesn't always have to be that you have everything. But like you said, when you get a mentor, you understand how to start putting the team together, how to start having conversations that make sense, and how to stay tapped into a network that has all of the resources that you need.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the pitfalls, I guess, that people should prepare for as far as getting started and getting involved in real estate?
So right now we're in a tumultuous time, right? Where, the economy is going up and down based upon, what we need as a commodity in order to do our job. Material prices are going out the roof. In addition to that, labor costs are going up. And now it's really about a readability of the things that we need in order to build a structure. And so one of the things I try to tell people is you got to plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? Right now it's taking, anywhere between 4 to 5 months just to get windows in. Concrete, sometimes you're anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks in order to get concrete poured. And so it's a matter about having a backup plan in place and also making sure that you have things to mitigate those issues before they arise.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say buy right too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think, you just mentioned a lot of cost overruns and a lot of things that are making the price go up and up and up. And it seems like the price of houses are going up and up and up. Like, how do you combat that with the price going up to actually acquire and buy the home and the price simultaneously going up with labor and all of these other elements? Like, is it still even profitable at the end of the day?
Well, no, real estate absolutely is profitable. It's just that you have to make sure that you don't make impulse buys and buy emotional, right? A lot of times, when you go out and just say you're dealing with a hard money loan, right? People or lenders can lend anywhere between 65 and 70, and some people even 75% on a deal. In my opinion, I'm more closer to that 60 to 65% after repair value, ARV.
To make sure you keep equity.
Exactly, because you never know what could happen. What can happen will happen. Yeah. And so you want to prepare just in case you may have to hold the property longer, and now your holding cost is more, your labor costs may go up, your material costs may go up. You want to make sure that at the end of the day that you're still covered and you're not spending a year doing some type of development and making no money, right? And so it's a matter about how do you prepare in order to make those things work.
Any final words or anything any final thoughts or something we didn't cover?
I mean, here's one of the things I try to tell people. At the end of the day, make sure that you're present in your business. Nobody is going to do your business, work your business like you are. So at the end of the day, make sure that you're present, make sure that you're getting the education that you need, and also make sure that you tap in, lock arms with somebody who's actually doing it. Go out to their project site, check and see their work, and find out how you can be a service to them, because at the end of the day, it's only going to help you.
Yeah, and your website is patricklhenderson.com.
So that's one of my sites. PLH Homes is my my construction, my development site. Okay. You can also find me on all social media outlets, Patrick L. Henderson, on Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where we are.
And then also, too, developmentmasterclass.com.
So our next one is going to be coming up. Obviously, we do it once a quarter. So what I try to tell people is, hey, go to the website, depending upon when you see this, and really find out when our next class is. As soon as one class is over, we turn around and we publish the date for the next class.
Yeah.
So make sure you're just following us, tapping in with us, and we want to definitely see you there.
Yeah, developmentmasterclass.com.
That's right.
And join us at our Launch Your Learning Circle. Like we said, we have them once a month. The biggest thing is to bring you on the field so you can get real world experience. A friend of mine actually came to one of our lawn chairs, and it was so beautiful. She was like, I'd never been in $1 million home before. And something that simple we can take for granted because we're in them all the time.
Right.
But that's something that can change someone's life and trajectory of what they can do and know is possible. So be sure to stay tapped in and continue to come into spaces like this. Stay tuned to Hope TV Network, where you can find out about real estate mastery and even more things that we have to come. You know, you got it. Let's get it. Let's go.
See you on the top.
Strong enough, never gave up every time I gave my all. Refuse to fall. Strong enough.
Can't stop, won't stop, keep going, don't stop.
You gotta push through. You gotta keep believing in yourself because you know you got it. So let's get it. Let's go.